Have you ever felt someone slipping away from your life, not because of anything you did, not because of lack of love, but because something deep inside you knows it's time to let go? You feel it in the quiet moments, in the empty spaces, in the small unease that doesn't make sense at first. Maybe the peace you once had around them is gone. Maybe doors you thought were always open keep closing. And somewhere deep in your spirit, there's a gentle voice whispering, "It's time to release this, it's time to trust me." Holding on suddenly feels heavier than letting go ever could. You might be scared. You might be hurting. You might even feel guilty for thinking about moving on. But what if I told you that sometimes God removes people not to punish you, not to make you feel abandoned, but to protect you, to prepare you, and to lead you into a new season that's better than anything you could imagine? It's not easy. It's not painless. But the first step to freedom is recognizing the signs that your life is changing and that letting go is part of His plan for you. And today we're going to talk about 7 real signs God is removing someone from your life. Signs that may be subtle, signs that may be loud, but signs that if you pay attention to them, you will see God's hand guiding your every step. Have you noticed the silence? The moments where talking once brought comfort now bring tension? That's the first sign. When peace leaves the room, it's no accident. It's not that you've failed or that the other person has failed you. Sometimes growth brings discomfort. Sometimes your light exposes insecurities in others that they never wanted to face. Look at it like this. Your life is meant to shine, and if someone's presence consistently brings anxiety, confusion, or unease, that peace you're missing is God's gentle nudge saying, "Step back. Your heart needs space to breathe." And it's not easy to hear that voice because love still lingers, but when you start to notice that every encounter drains you instead of uplifts you, that's a sign. And if you're listening carefully, you'll feel that still, small voice guiding you toward release. And here is the suspense your heart needs. If every plan you try to make together seems to fail, if every step forward feels blocked, that is not coincidence. That is a door closing for a reason. It's a sign that what you're holding on to is no longer meant to stay. The second sign is when someone slowly, almost unknowingly, pulls you away from your purpose. You were created for something bigger, something unique, something that requires your full attention, your faith, your energy. But sometimes relationships, even those we love deeply, begin to distract us, to shift our focus, to take us off the path God has designed. It doesn't mean the other person is bad or evil. It just means their season in your life is ending because you're moving into a new season. Remember, Samson was chosen for a purpose he couldn't ignore, yet Delilah distracted him, and his focus slipped little by little. God sometimes allows these distractions to show us where our true calling lies and teaches us the value of staying aligned with our purpose. You have to recognize it when the distraction starts to feel heavier than the inspiration, when the energy spent leaves you feeling empty instead of fulfilled. That's a quiet, powerful way God shows you that letting go isn't rejection, it's realignment. And here as your next reflection point, if you find yourself constantly trying to fix what keeps breaking, if separation repeats itself over and over, that cycle is a lesson, not a mistake. When you've forgiven, reconciled, and still find things falling apart, that's a sign. Sometimes separation is divine. Look at Paul and Barnabas. They disagreed, parted ways, but God used that separation to expand their mission in ways they couldn't have imagined together. Your repeated struggles might not be failure. They might be preparation for something greater, a freedom you couldn't grasp while holding on. The fourth sign is when the fruit of the relationship turns sour. When laughter once felt easy now carries tension. When encouragement turns into judgment. When love begins to feel like obligation instead of inspiration. Pay attention. Jesus said we recognize people by their fruit. And when the fruit begins to poison instead of nourish, God is quietly saying, step away for your growth and your faith. Toxic energy is subtle. It doesn't always come with drama. Sometimes it comes in quiet moments, in subtle discouragements, and the slow drain of your spirit. And you'll know deep down when it's time to release. Here's another pause for reflection. If every attempt to revive what is already broken only makes the hurt deeper, that's your sign. God doesn't ask you to resurrect what He has already ended. There's peace in that realization, even if it comes slowly, even if it comes with tears. The fifth sign is spiritual stagnation. If your connection with someone begins to block your prayer life, your focus, your spiritual growth, that's serious. Relationships should not anchor you down from your walk with God. They should elevate it. Jonah's story reminds us how one person out of alignment with God can cause storms not only in their life, but in those around them. When spiritual dryness appears, it's not always the world around you. Sometimes it's the people in your life. Their season is ending, and your season is beginning. Pay attention to how your spirit feels in their presence, drained, restless, or burdened. That's not coincidence. The sixth sign is compromise. When someone subtly or overtly pushes you to ignore your convictions, to lower your standards, or to bend your faith, that's a red flag. Solomon's heart drifted slowly because of influences that seemed harmless at first, but eventually pulled him away from his purpose. God will never ask you to abandon your principles for the sake of a relationship. When peace, wisdom, or integrity are compromised, it's time to release. Here is a moment to pause. If you find the same lesson repeating over and over through conversations, signs, or inner nudges, listen closely. God is using repetition to confirm what your heart already suspects. He doesn't whisper twice without meaning it. If the message keeps appearing, if the confirmations keep stacking, that's divine clarity. It's not coincidence. It's instruction. The seventh and final sign is when your heart knows it's time to move on. You've prayed, you've reflected, you've tried, and yet the knowing persists. That internal certainty isn't guilt. It isn't selfishness. It's wisdom from God guiding you to your next season. Samuel couldn't step into David's anointing until he released Saul. In the same way, you cannot move forward fully until you let go of what God has already ended. Letting go doesn't mean stopping love. It means starting trust. It means believing that God sees what's ahead, that He knows what you cannot see, and that every goodbye carries the seed of a greater hello. So today, if this resonates with you, remember, God is not punishing you. He's protecting you. He's redirecting you. Every door that closes is a doorway to something bigger. Every separation is a space for peace to return. Every release is a preparation for what's next. Trust His timing. Release with faith. Step forward with courage. And know that what you think is loss, God calls liberation. Your season of growth is waiting. Your purpose is calling, and your freedom is on the horizon.